Well, good evening, shippers, aka crewmates. Welcome to the Shipped Podcast. My name is The Click, and I'm here with one topic at a time. Say hi,
Hello.
one topic. Yes,
No.
there we go. Very, very beautiful, beautiful. This is starting off great. So,
I love that every opening for our podcast episodes is just a train wreck.
well, this kind of sets the standard. You know, if people actually keep listening past the first 30 seconds, they will always be pleasantly surprised.
Oh, yeah. When you just flop out your content and slam it on the table. Yeah. It's definitely a good time.
When you flop out your content and slam it on the table, that means something else in my head. I'm picturing something else there.
All right, Click. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, not that at least. So what we're going
Hopefully
to talk
not.
about today, I figured a good topic since both of us are old, wise men, and we have some decent experience when it comes to, yes, wise and mature, like maturing like a fine wine. We have some experience from work life, from YouTube, from contacting people, business, personal. So we figured we can talk a bit about what it's like to approach people. How should you approach people? How does it look from the other receiving end? And what are some things you can take with you to be better at approaching people in general?
Okay.
All right, perfect. That is not how you approach someone.
I'm so glad I'm here, by the way.
I'm really glad too. I love doing this podcast. It's so much fun. So the first thing I figured we could talk a bit about is... Why are you laughing at me?
Okay, go ahead.
I feel...
No, I just love how much I'm contributing. I'm just listening to you at this point.
All right. Well, you'll sit back and relax one topic at a time, and I will make you enjoy this podcast. So,
I'm ready.
yes. Yeah, you're ready. So the first thing I believe we can talk about a bit is related to our thing here at YouTube, because I think I'm far from alone when it comes to getting a lot of strange messages when you're on this platform. And it's from, I think 80% of it is just, people that watch you that try to grab your attention or want to interact with you, which is something I personally appreciate a lot. I really like receiving like questions and talking to the people that follow me. It's one of the things I love about YouTube. It enables you to get a very tight bond with the people that actually watch your stuff. On many other media platforms, there's like a wall between you and the people who actually watch you. Here, it's like you reply to their comments live. You can hang out with Discord with them. It's very much, it's as close as you get, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, it's something I'm pretty sad to admit, but recently I even closed my Discord DMs to people that are not on my friends list. I still try to interact with people on the Discord itself, but I had to actually close the Discord DMs because I started getting spammed with so much just weird stuff, and most of it is just pointless.
Oh,
Yes.
did you? You started getting
Did
spammed
you-
with weird stuff. Wouldn't it suck if
you-
someone else
did
in
you
this
get-
conversation was inspired by you to receive a bunch of weird comments? Click. Huh?
I
What's
have no
my
idea
name
what
again?
you're talking about. One at a time.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And then they're offering me different prices. It's all a meme. It's all a fun meme, isn't it? Until someone gets hurt. I'll tell you what. My emotions are a little damaged.
I'm so sorry. Can you ever forgive me?
I might have to look at closing my DMs too for those who aren't on my friends list as well. Because every time I jump into one of the servers, even though the server rules are don't DM people, they still pop up.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do recordings and stuff, and sometimes the DMs pop up when I'm trying to get work done. And it's I love
Yes.
hearing from everyone, but you got to find like the right route to get in contact with people, right?
Yes, exactly. For example, I've had so many DMs that I don't reply to. I read all my DMs that I've gotten, but I only reply to like maybe 1 out of 5. And I try to reply the ones that have genuine questions, that have like a genuine starting point of a conversation, or someone, sharing something more personal, for example. I always try to reply to that, although I do miss some, I am aware, because it just gets too flooded. Look at that, so popular. But yes. But a lot of this stuff is so... It's just, that's not how you approach people. I've had, for example, people just send me, here's a link to a YouTube video of my favorite TV series. It's like, what? like, and then the message a couple of days later, did you watch it yet? It's like, what? and and then I mean, the amount of DMs you get of people just saying hi and nothing else, it's like, this is not an awkward start on a Tinder thing. I mean, if you have a genuine question, I would love to answer it, but this is not how you're gonna engage in a conversation with someone you never met. It's strange.
It's interesting. Okay, so when I was pretty shy, someone commented on a video this morning actually, or no, last night, and they said something that stood out to me a little bit. They quoted me in the video talking about how excited I was that one of my tweets got a like from the Illuminati. I was like, oh my god, small fan moment here, and they're like, 6 months later, little did you know. And I was like, oh yeah, my goodness.
Well, that's kind of cute.
It is a little bit, but it was me, trying to be funny on Twitter, a very public open space where anyone can like dip in, dip out of those conversations. And and then when I built up my confidence and decided to reach out to one of the YouTubers I thought was cool, I opened up Instagram, found that YouTuber, and was like, hey, here's a targeted message specific to our interests that I think you and I could discuss.
Is this someone we know on the podcast?
Really? On the podcast of two people? Well, I wasn't DMing myself, sir.
I do. I'm lonely sometimes.
I could see you doing that, actually, making the second account just to ooh-woo at yourself. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like, talking to yourself in the mirror. Just like, oh yeah, you're looking good today, fam. Oh, heck yeah.
So my message, I tried to make like short, succinct, to the point, and like regarding specific actionable steps where it's just like, hey, here's my reason for reaching out. If you'd like to reach back out, that'd be cool. And I think if more people reached out like that, they'd probably get a higher rate of responses. Because
definitely.
I know I told Human One this all the time, but on dating apps, whenever someone just opens up with the word "hey," I bounce. I don't respond. That's not good enough.
No, but it's hard because what they actually do is that you don't think about this unless you're on the receiving end. Because I used to do that too back in the day when I was new to like online dating and stuff.
Yeah.
But what you realize after a few years of experience in this harsh world is that what that actually does is that you just tell that person, hey, I want to talk to you, but it's up to you to get the conversation rolling.
Exactly.
It's like you're dumping all of the initiative. Exactly. And that's not it's not a smooth way of starting conversation because the other person has to be interested from the start to the point where they actually want to ask you something genuine question when they know something about you. It is very difficult to get a conversation going when someone just sends you hi. There's nothing to go on, and it requires a surprising amount of effort to get that ball rolling. So if you want to start up a conversation, especially when it comes to reaching out to, for example, a creator on YouTube or someone you're watching or something like that, start off with a genuine question or like a line of conversation. That is way better.
Yeah, or, when talking to the ladies or to the fellas, include more than just hey. Because as an example, like with me starting a conversation with the Click, I didn't assume that he'd recognize my name. I didn't assume that he'd go to my profile to try to figure out who I was. Try to go to my YouTube channel to then figure out whether or not we'd be a good match. I wanted to let him know up front exactly what would work and what wouldn't work, and why I was interested. And the same thing goes on like a dating profile site. I know I'm coming back to that example, but it's a good one. It's just if someone reaches out to you and all they say is hey, that lets you know that as a starting point for a potential relationship, that they want all the onus to be on your shoulders. That they're like, hey, I have a passing interest in you, but you have to win my attention. And that's not how any healthy relationship, business-wise or otherwise, should go. Opening up with just hey. No.
That's it's a very good point, and I think that a lot of the time you don't realize it. And I think, speaking from my own experience with my early days of online dating and stuff, it's like you said those very simple messages because you didn't know what else to say. It's like, okay, I want to talk to this person, but I don't know how to open. I'm just going to say hi, and hopefully they have something interesting to say. But 99% of the time that won't work because then they find you to be uninteresting.
Too much work.
Speaking from yes, too much work. Well, it's too much work when you haven't shown the potential.
Exactly.
This sounds very cold-hearted and psychopathic, but every relationship in life is a symbiosis. It's a business of a sort. It doesn't always have to do with resources or gain or anything like that. But for example, what we're doing here, I mean, we're doing this podcast because we like hanging out, we have fun together, the content flows very nicely, and it's also partially business, but it's also, of course, deeper than that.
Wait, you're getting paid for this?
No. So anyway, moving on. So even in that sense, even if this is very relaxed, hobby-based kind of thing, at least a podcast so far, it's still something we enjoy doing because it's nice spending time. It's a nice change of pace, and so that's kind of a transaction in itself. It's a symbiosis, and that can never be one-sided. If it is one-sided, one of the individuals will grow tired. And especially if you start off with just a hi. Imagine if we started off a podcast episode and one of us is just sitting in the back like, hi,
What do you want to talk about?
yes, interesting.
What should we talk about?
Yeah.
Well, we have
Exactly.
to make a podcast, so it doesn't matter what we put out there. Let's just put out
Yeah,
like
but
anything.
you
I don't
can make
know.
up a topic, right?
How's
Yeah.
your day?
So-
Well, my day's fine. I don't know. What else should we?
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
if
it's
that
not
was the
raining.
reality,
That's pretty good.
oh my god, okay, you have to stop now, otherwise this is over.
People are already closing the podcast because of
Yeah.
the fake podcast
Oh,
I'm doing.
we're done. We're done.
All right.
But if that was the reality, one of us would probably dip very fast.
Yep. But luckily, both of us are hard workers, and also
Oh, we're
friends, and apparently that's mixing well.
Well,
Probably because we were able to establish such a common ground really early on. Like a couple minutes
Yes.
after our first conversation, we already whipped open our Discords and started chatting and talking
yes,
about making
opened
a
up.
video.
Yes, that's what we opened up. Yeah, no, but it was really, it was really smooth. It just like clicked very fast. Because I think we had like, did we send like 2 or 3 messages total on Instagram, something like that? You said like, hey, see, I saw your videos. Maybe you're interested in talking to me. I do this, and I replied, hey man, contact me on Discord. It's easier to chat there. And we chatted like 5 messages, and then we just started voice chatting. And after 30 minutes, it was like, hey, want to record a video? Oh yeah, sure.
You're like the fourth
And-
Beck on my Instagram contact list. I can actually read back exactly what you said if you're curious.
Oh, go for it.
Okay. So November 28th. Okay, here we go.
It's
I've
even not
been
that
se-
far away.
Yeah, it's so
Man.
recent. It's only January.
Damn,
My
it
goodness.
feels longer. It feels so much longer.
Way longer.
Anyway, go
It
on.
was literally a lifetime ago. So I wrote, I've been seeing in the comments of my videos lately that we should collab. Were you asked to cover r/ooh countless times like me? Ha ha ha. If you're interested in covering a subreddit together sometime, let me know. By the way, congrats on surpassing 100,000 subscribers.
Aw,
November
look at that.
28th, I'm congratulating on 100,000. What are you at now, Click? 204?
Yeah, I think 204 as
So
we're
then
recording this.
Your response
man.
was, hey man, thank you, with a little congratulations emoji. Yes, they never get enough of that ooh-woo, it seems. Dear God. Sure, that would be fun. Do you hang around Discord any? And I said, I do have a Discord account. And then I sent you a screenshot. And then immediately we switched over. So you sent me 2 messages, and I sent like 3 messages.
Oh, so you're the needy one. You sent 3 and I only sent 2. Okay, cool.
One
cool.
of those
I know how to play
messages was
chill.
a screenshot, but all right.
Yeah, well, still 3 messages, man. Still 3 messages.
Okay, if I count those as one message, then we both sent 2. But yeah, I put
Okay.
in way more letters than you. You were straight to the point, very businesslike. But
Like
yeah,
overanalyzing.
that's a pretty average conversation in which you say, "Hey, I like what you do. Here's my very specific interest, and if you would like to contact me back, that would be cool." You're not demanding
Yes.
a response from that person. You're not saying that this is something you need from them. You're just saying, "Hey, if interested,
And
super
also-
low level of investment that you'd need in order to complete this interaction, this conversational interaction. Feel free."
Yes. And I think also a very interesting point in that, like you mentioned, it's you don't leave the other person to try and figure out what it is you want. It's not like you say, hi, hibbidi-bidi. And like, okay, I have no idea what this person wants. This is going to end up being like 5 back and forth questions. And then it's going to be something I'm 99% sure I'm going to say no to anyway in the end. That's typically how it goes. But by saying what you want initially, that makes it so much easier to just start a conversation. And that is something that you did really well in those messages, because it was straight to the point. I already knew, like, hey, I recognize this guy's name. I've seen a couple of his videos. This is what he's interested in. Yeah, we could definitely do that. And it was very easy to just get to the point very fast. And that's, yeah, look at us. We're so efficient, business-minded people. Oh, my God.
It was so natural for us to take the next step. If you at home who are listening to this podcast...
People are going to...
If you
We're going to ship this so hard.
If you at home who are listening to this podcast are not sure whether or not you are currently that person who makes other people work for the conversation, here's an experiment you can do. If during a conversation at any time you end your sentences with the word "so" and you draw it out, you are that person putting more work on the other person's shoulders. It is the worst thing you can do, is to force their mind to complete a sentence, but also demand a response. It is frustrating.
Yes.
Like, I don't really think about that, so... That's perhaps a very casual example, but that's
No, but in the long run, it gets really tedious.
Yes.
Another thing, though, if you don't reply instantly and people get upset when you don't reply. I had someone hit me up on Discord. I think it was someone who watched my videos, but I'm not sure. I never found out and never told me. I woke up one morning and I had like 5 missed calls. Luckily, my phone was on mute during the night, but someone had like voice called me on Discord 5 times in the middle of the night. I'm assuming they're American, and I am not in American time, so it was like 3 or 4 a.m. for me.
You're
and
not?
Then they call. No, even though I sound American. So obviously I didn't pick up. And I woke up and I have 5 missed calls from this person, and then like a few text messages like, "Oh, I guess you're just not gonna reply then. Okay, fine." It's like, are you serious? You gave it 5 minutes. It's someone you know can be pretty busy, and you haven't even bothered to check out if they're awake. Like, that is so low effort, and then you get upset when they didn't reply. My God, that's some entitlement stuff right there. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
But
it's frustrating when you want to have positive interactions with people, so you leave things like DMs open. But then, I don't want to say like people abuse that, but maybe they take advantage of it a little bit. Where they're saying, "Well, since it's open, I can just say and do whatever I want, and I have free license to do that because they left their DMs open."
Yeah, I guess. And take the freedom bit for granted.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think it's also, it's a bit of a generalization, but I think it's often people who are a bit younger that want to try to appear like funny or cool to you. They want to like prove themselves. So I've had a lot of people where they don't even say anything. They just post memes. I've had people that post me like 20 memes just in DMs. Like, bam, there's 20 memes, not a single text.
Oh, wait,
like,
what? 20 in a row?
Yeah, just 20 memes in a row, no text. I'm like, am I supposed to be impressed at your ability to download images from Reddit? Or what are you, what? It's so weird. Sometimes people even quote my own videos. That's the most awkward thing to reply to. It's with DM, and all they've said is one of my quotes or jokes from a video. It's like, I always found that to be really weird. It's like someone they don't even said hi. It's like they can send me a quote, "Good evening, laddies, lasses, and lassos." I'm like, what am I? That's something I say in my videos.
Intro.
What am I supposed to say and reply to this? What? Oh, like, yeah, that's something I said at some point. Woohoo.
Sometimes people quote things that I don't say in the videos. I appreciate when people add timestamps so I can review it to see whether or not it was like in context or out of context that I said something. 'Cause sometimes, things slip into the edit where I'm thinking it'll make sense and then it doesn't. And then, and then they say things like, oh, I don't know. Someone comments saying that one of my videos was racist. I don't know if you saw that. And then,
yes.
And I had to ask them, okay, can you point out where it was racist? And they said, you don't know? And then we went back 4 or 5 times before they eventually told me that it was just their impression of the title. So it was r/white people Twitter.
Jesus. Yeah, I can say right now that I am white as freaking mayonnaise, and I don't really take offense to that stuff. So
You're
please
whiter
don't
than
be
I
second. I'm so freaking white. So please don't take second-hand offense on my behalf. I am fully capable of being offended myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they identified as non-white, and we're trying to get offended for us. I don't know.
That is really
I
weird.
also
Like
called
you,
it okay
you.
boomer, so I was really curious if they're going that angle. It's like, you're racist against boomers.
Boomers is a race.
It makes me laugh so hard when boomer logic is like,
Well, actually, I'm not part of the boomer generation, you idiot. I'm actually Gen X. If you did your research, Gen X is.
it's like, okay, boomer. It's just like the perfect place to put in there. It's not even like
Oh,
it's just dismissing their comment because it's very logical for the joke that is the meme that is okay, boomer.
Yeah, of course. It's just like very like whatever, man. It's a 2020 version of that.
If they exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
That's a good example. I think there's some other undertones there. But did you see that in some places, in some workplaces, okay, boomer has been added to like a list of words that are considered harassment, fireable offenses? Yep.
Really?
But they can still call people millennials.
Oh man. Oh, of course. I'm so glad I'm self-employed now. My God.
Have you noticed that even on popular shows like Ellen, they haven't found a new name for the Gen Z people, so they just call them millennials too. So it's like, watch
Yes,
a
I
millennial
noticed.
try to figure out how to use a rotary phone and a map.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
And they're like
she's
9 years old.
Not a millennial. I think she was like 18 or 17 or something. So
Okay,
yeah,
but
not
still,
a millennial.
still, can you imagine that people that are like 20, people that are literally like 20 years now, they were born on the wrong side of the century. That feels weird.
Explain.
No, so like, because I grew up, I'm a 90s kid, you know, I can relate to all the hashtag 90s kids will get this meme, yo.
Sure.
So when I grew up, everybody who was born on the other side of the OO,
Yeah.
they were like, you know, babies, really
Yeah.
small children. And all of a sudden, nowadays, it's like they're adults. And it feels so weird to think that, wait a minute, you were born in like 2002 or something like that.
You're not allowed to be an
And you're-
adult
and
now.
Yeah, and you can legally like drink and drive. What? What happened? It's like you can literally go out to the pub right now and you see, oh, there over there is there's a little fresh bean. Go home and beans. So I'm gonna go up and chat that thing up, and it's like, yeah, I was born in 2002. What? No. What? Wait, what? Am I that old? Oh no.
I think
Yeah. So
I've never really had that moment where I thought of people growing up to be weird because they used to be babies recently. But I think I can relate to that because the closest I got was I think 2005. It was 2005. My friend's wife, who's a teacher, off the cuff mentioned,
Oh, yeah, and these kids who were born after 9/11 are in my class.
I'm like, wait, what? Don't you teach high school?
Uh.
And she's like, yeah. And? Oh, God. And then I did the math, and I'm like, these children were born after 9/11. What?
yes, they were born after 9/11, and they're like adults now.
And they don't know what it means. They don't know why we have so much
No.
security in airports. They don't remember a time when there was less security in airports. Back
Yeah,
in my
exactly.
day, you could walk through without getting a finger up your bum. Good luck on that. now.
it's a bonus. Tickle that prostate.
As long as you don't
Yes.
get thick finger Larry, you should be fine.
Oh, well, maybe I want to get thick.
No. Okay, we've gone way too far. I'm so
Yes,
uncomfortable.
we're going down the rabbit hole. The
Or
rabbit
Larry's
hole. Okay,
going
that's
down
also a
your
way to
rabbit
call
hole.
it. Yes, he is. He's gonna go there and bounce around a bit. If
No, every time. I can't even encourage you the smallest amount because you take it 10 steps further than anyone would ever want.
Yeah, it's not well like what they say. Give Bambi the finger, and they take the entire arm.
What
Yeah,
is
that's the
wrong
thing.
with Sweden? What? Explain this idiom because I don't understand it.
No, I think it was initially a parody, but I think it's something along the lines of if you give. I think the original quote is something to do with a pet that is a predator, something like that. If you
Oh,
give them
okay.
the finger, they will take the entire arm. You know, so don't give them the finger to start with.
Right. Okay.
Something like
okay.
that. And then
okay.
the
So a
Bambi
similar
thing.
idiom here would be you give them an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I was very
Yeah.
concerned when you're just talking about Bambi, who is a beloved childhood deer character
Bambi
from a
is
Disney
vicious.
film.
Bambi is vicious. Bambi will chew you up, boy. Mm.
Have you noticed the parallels between Bambi and Jesus? You know, the
You
story
mean
with
that?
Bambi starts out and it's a child,
You mean
and then
you mean that
the
both
story
are
continues
furries?
later on as with Bambi being an adult, and there's no stories in the middle. What
Yeah,
happened to
that is true.
Jesus?
That is true. Yeah, they're all what? No, they're like. So you mean that Bambi got crucified? That's
Where
not
are
very
Bambi's
nice.
Dead Sea Scrolls? Okay. One of the Dead Sea
Yeah,
Scrolls talks about one of the stories of Jesus when he was like a teenager, walking through the desert with Mary, his mother, and his brother, and I can't remember his brother's name offhand. And then they encountered a dragon at a cave, and that tries to talk to them. And then the people who were compiling the books for the Bible looked at that and went, I'm pretty sure he can turn water into wine, but talking dragons might be a bit much. Let's not include that story.
they skipped the cool part. Gosh darn.
Yeah, I think Mary kicked a dragon. Pretty sure that's how the story
Oh.
goes.
Well, that's pretty badass.
Interesting.
Come here.
right?
Eh. No, don't kick my ass. Suck that dragon. Oh yeah.
Oh. So, introducing yourself to strangers on the internet.
Yes, talking about
And saying
Jesus
hi
and
to
Bambi.
people.
Yes. But it's also interesting. One thing I noticed it's a very big difference when it comes to working with YouTube and working on a professional company,
Yeah.
is that all the relations, well, at least 90% of them in companies they're so surface level. You know, you don't actually know people that well. It's this, very skin-deep professional kind of relationship. And it makes sense because, I mean, if you have a critical client, for example, maybe you don't want to discuss deep philosophy and politics with them because what if you disagree? Maybe you'll end up freaking don't liking each other and then the business kind of fails.
I've done
So
that before.
I understand why. Yeah. So I understand why, but it's still, that was a very big difference because on here, for example, the people we work with, we have like, we're 8 people that work with
Yep.
with each other on a regular basis. And it's when we bond and stuff, we like sit and drink beer and play video games, and we laugh and we do memes and sometimes have even deeper talks when we sit late at night. I would never bond that kind of way with colleagues, if that makes sense. I can't see that happening in the same way. It's a very different atmosphere. Have you experienced the same thing, or was it different where you worked?
I've worked at a few jobs where you would never ever spend time with your coworkers outside of them, so I can relate to
Yeah.
that. When I worked in healthcare, you wouldn't go home in your scrubs and hang out with your friend from work. That is just like, okay, we're gonna have a 4-hour nap, and I'll see you in the morning.
Aw.
Like, it was not a thing that you'd do to hang out with people socially outside of work. But I've worked other
Yeah.
jobs where you were very much encouraged to stay after work and play video games and things. The idea being, the longer we can keep people in the building, the more work they'll do. So it's like a weird trap set out for millennials. Been like, we don't have to pay them for overtime if they just enjoy drinking beer, playing ping pong, and playing video games with each other, because then they'll just be like, oh, we have more work to do. Well, since we're already here, why don't we just clean up a bit more work? That's fine.
Yeah, or half an hour of that time is spent talking about a business case or something like that
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
you would do during work hours.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that makes sense, I guess, and it's also the social aspect. I mean, people are social creatures. If you can get them to have a lot of social connections at work, it means they're also more secure as an employee. So it's a good strategy in many ways.
It is.
I guess
It is.
I think that was part of the reason why it was easier. Well, one part that made it easier for me to go to YouTube from the job I had was the fact that I had only worked with YouTube for like a couple of months as an actual job, and I was already closer to the people I worked with here than I was at my day job. And that made it so much easier because when I finally came to the decision, it wasn't like I was leaving, my best friends for life. It wasn't like I was leaving the people I hung out with every weekend or anything like that. It was colleagues, and they were absolutely fine. They were friendly, but there wasn't much deeper than that. And I think they feel the same way about me. So that made a choice so much easier, for better or worse, of course.
Yeah, I can say that stepping away from the day job was no big risk.
Yeah.
I had a couple really good friends, and they've all quit before me. There's only one guy that I really, really enjoyed spending time with that I would like to continue hanging out with in the future, but we still text each other. We'll still hang out at some point. But it was
Oh, that's
healthier
good.
for us to maintain a friendship outside of a job that was asking for such high levels of performances. Like a lot of jobs can just ruin friendships because it's
Yes.
difficult for people to separate the job you with the friend you, because the way you'd approach a friendship is very different. Like if you told your friend, "Hey, I need to dig a hole," they'd be like, "Oh yeah," and you'd have fun, you'd hang out, you'd dig a hole. But if your job was to dig a hole with that friend, you'd be like, "Hey, dude, like I've been digging more hole than you've been digging hole. Can you like catch up?" And they're like, "Well, I can't dig as fast." And like it just becomes conflict, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a completely different discussion and dynamic. And that's the thing. That's one thing with YouTube. I'm trying to be careful about because I think when we're on camera as well, it's like you enter a bit of a character mode. It's not like we fake it, but you know what I mean, right? For example, when we sit with
Ooh, woo.
yeah. So when we sit with Sad Milk, for example, it's like it's a different. We talk about different things when we're on off camera. It's
A little bit.
now we're on stage, now we're not.
Yeah.
And I think separating that in a healthy way, so the people you work with don't think you're a phony. I think that's very important. So behind the scenes, they can see, hey, you're a real person with real compassionate feelings, and you can talk about stuff, or you help each other, that kind of thing. And when we're on camera, we can be entertaining. We can kind of, switch on that, goofy, skin deep kind of humor, and then we can go back to being more close buddies after the cameras turn off, kind of.
And that's a good point. So when you were mentioning earlier introducing yourself to new people, do you think you try to introduce yourself with the persona, or do you think you try to introduce yourself with who you are behind the scenes?
I think it's a bit of both, honestly. I think when I talk to someone the first time, for example, when I drop into Discord, for example, just VC with people that happen to be there, it's closer to my persona than who I am personally, of course. But when, for example, I sit and just talk about things with you or Oz or Blair, I would say it's much closer to my personal self than the character, of course. So it's a difference, I guess. I think it's kind of like a business too, The Click online personality is my way of being professional in a YouTube context, if that makes sense. That's like,
Nowhere else would
That's-
that work.
yes. So so that's the same thing, if I were to go to a serious business meeting with a close friend of mine, I would be, business minded and professional in the meeting. And then when we get back outside, when they're just the two of us, I would be more personal again. And I think the same thing goes for YouTube. When you're at the stage, you're in kind of the business context, you're an entertainer. Doesn't mean I fake it, but you don't start pouring out your entire personal life. And when you get off that stage, you can be more relaxed. You don't have to entertain people. You can be more of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's something like that. So, yeah, when we're hanging out, I try to be as much of myself as I can. And of course, some of myself is still going to be part of that quote-unquote character, because the character is not a fake. It's just that I take parts of my humor and I enhance it,
I don't think it's wrong to highlight yourself. I agree with that part of your conversation there. The points you're mentioning is that highlighting your good aspects are better than trying to present all your aspects at the same time. Like if you feel that you have positive and negative characteristics, don't like hide the negatives, but don't promote them. If you know what I mean. Like if you're
Yes.
if you're trying to go on a first date, or you are on a first date, trying to bring up all the things that are wrong with you, just so everything's out in the open and just so it's clear all my cards are on the table, people are gonna walk
Ugh.
away. Like your immediate gut reaction.
It's a bit creepy. Hey, by the way, these socks, I wore them yesterday too. It's like, oh, okay, that's the first thing you bring up.
By the way, balloons. I like balloons. They're very balloony.
They blow up so much, they get
Yes,
so big.
that's what it is. I inflate balloons. Not
Did
to
you
knock
know
anyone
that
who's
my
into that.
Did you know that my day job now is making uwos?
I don't know. I respect it more than making slime.
Now we're gonna get tons of comments from like some slime channel that watch this. Like,
But I
bring
like
the hate.
slime. I honestly, I really liked slime too when I was a kid. I would love to make it and like put little
Oh, me
Lego
too.
characters in it and then watch them sink into it. It was so much fun. But
Oh, what a sadist!
not a sadist. Anyways, if you don't know what a really good mixture for slime is, you can get some PVA glue or school glue from Walmart. It's like a couple bucks. You can get some borax, which is washing detergent soap. You mix that detergent up with water. You mix the glue up with water separately, then mix them together. Perfect slime every time, 100%. Guarantee. That's the one topic guarantee. So if you, as an adult or a child, want to make that, go for it. If you want to make YouTube videos with it, go away.
Oh god. Oh man.
Quit taking all my ads.
I used
Monetize
to
my
play with slime
content.
as a kid, and my parents hated me so much for
Oh,
playing with
yeah?
slime because I used to toss it around, and the slime I used, it kind of dropped a bit of its color. So when you splashed it on a wall, for example, it would leave like a small subtle stain.
Yeah.
I did that everywhere.
Oh no. Oh, I think I
Oh,
did
yeah.
that once, and then I learned not to very quickly. My father was a bit of a strict taskmaster. So I knew I had to wait all day after I saw I'd done that. I had to wait all day for him to get home, and I knew as soon as he got home he'd see it. And it was like late at night, and I should have been sleeping, but I couldn't. I was sitting up in bed. I was like, "It's gonna happen." So yeah, when you're meeting someone for the first time, don't tell them that you made slime and then you waited up all night sitting on your bed for your father to get home. That's maybe too much, you know.
It sounds weird. It sounds like I have daddy issues.
So the way someone might approach that is whatever you're bringing up first is the most important and biggest aspect of your life.
Yes.
And
yes.
if it's
amen.
not, then just don't talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you should mention is who you are in a broad spectrum. Like, what do you work with? What are your hobbies? What are your passion? What are you looking for from this relationship or this kind of interaction? If you make those things clear, all the other stuff will kind of fall into place as you go along. But make who you are kind of clear, make your intentions clear, and after that, I mean, if it's meant to be, it will happen.
Yeah, business wise, personal wise, you wanna chat up the ladies. There's a little cameo from a squeaky chair.
Or chat up topicy wapicky.
Or you wanna chat up the fellows, or you
Oh,
wanna
yes.
chat up just a general human-shaped human.
Oh, I'm quite satisfied with any humanoid. I dropped my standards many years ago, good sir.
If you're in school and you're taking a similar elective class, oh my god, it is so much easier to talk to people. Like if you're both
Yes,
going for
yes.
art, and you like whatever art they're doing, and you're like, hey, I do art too, and they want to talk about art, boom, you're in the door.
It's so easy.
As soon as
it's
you
so
become
easy.
an adult, it's a little bit trickier finding those people. Because if you go out to play paintball, you're like, I'm at paintball, this other person's at paintball, let's talk about paintball. And they're like, actually, I do other stuff in my life. It's like, oh no.
It's like,
Oh,
no,
no.
let's talk about paintball. Paintball is the only thing that exists right now.
So how do you make friends as an adult?
It is more difficult. I would say it is not as obvious as in school, because then it's like you go to the same class as, a few dozen people. You're bound to bond with a few of them. And then, maybe you have some hobbies. You play football after school, that kind of stuff. But as an adult, it's more difficult because you don't have that default hangout. And like I said, at least for me, a lot of colleagues and stuff, it's not people I hang out with on my free time. So the most friends I've made, honestly, as an adult are people I've met through already existing friends or
Yeah.
people on YouTube. That's
You get someone
mainly
else to
it.
do the hard work.
Like, please introduce me to your friends. I need friends.
It works for me.
But other than that, it's actually been YouTube. I think YouTube has been the place where I made the most friends in the shortest amount of time for the past year or two, something like that.
Yeah, same here.
And-
Like first it was Damien, but then very quickly after that it was yourself, and then very quickly after that was everyone else.
Yeah.
It all fell
And
in
for
very
me, it
quick
was-
succession.
Yeah, and for me it was Salty was the first one who introduced me to the first one I talked to from the Reddit community, and then he invited me to the Reddit group, which was the one I invited you to as well later. And then I kind of met everyone else, but it was less talkative back then. I remember I got pretty close with Salty, and then I remember I started talking a bit with Oz and started getting closer to him. Illuminati was still kind of quiet back then. She was doing her own thing, and yeah, it was like a general Discord group. We didn't really have any projects or anything going on back then, so it was a bit more
Illuminati
quiet.
was quiet.
Yeah, she was more quiet back then.
I
Yes.
can't imagine.
No. Now
She
that
has
we
such a
spend every
strong
day.
personality. I can't imagine her just sitting back.
No, I think she was just really busy, you know. And like I said, it's
Oh,
not
okay,
like
okay.
it was more like just a general chatting room. It wasn't like we had any projects or something we were actually
That's
working
true.
on. It was just
Yeah.
like we were just sharing random things like, hey, I had trouble getting this monetized. Anyone else had this problem? Oh yeah, tried to censor this. Oh, thanks. It was like sharing, you know, tips or like memeing around a bit. It wasn't actual projects. So I think that was a big difference between then and now. Now it's
Yeah.
actually we work on so many things together, so we're always invested in something. We always have something to discuss or talk about or push forward towards. But yeah, she's very not quiet nowadays, and I love it.
She's great at leading a conversation for sure, and great at leading
Indeed.
a team project and things. And
Yes.
yeah, I love what we're working on together. It's all very smooth and fantastic, but it all started with those first steps of being able to say
It
hi
did.
to one another. And
did.
none of us were not awkward.
No, we were all so awkward.
I know we come off as pretty smooth in these recordings and these videos, as if we know what we're doing. But you know that phrase, fake it till you make it?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
It never stops. You never make it. It's continually
no.
fake.
Yes. Oh god, it's so good. It's like, hey kids, if you're feeling hopeful back home, remember you never stop faking it. You never get out of that screaming void. All right, have fun, y'all.
Fake it till you fake it again, and then fake it some more, and then never
yeah.
let the facade down, or else people will know you've been faking it the whole time.
Okay, just building the lie becomes more and more complex and monstrous. That's cool.
At
but
least I've always been honest with you guys. If I ever dropped a lie in there, it'd be so hard to keep track of. Yeah, that's an
No, but I
important
think-
thing. When you're meeting new people, don't be dishonest. There's a good tip. If you're taking notes to this
Yes.
podcast, we probably had 3 good tips so far. So put that as number 3.
No, but that's a very big thing, because if you're dishonest from the start, you just have to keep building on top of that lie until it becomes unstable. It's not a healthy way to do it. And we were all so awkward the first time we introduced ourselves in that group, because I remember my first time when Salty invited me. We had been, you know, in a voice call for a bit. We're talking about collabs, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna invite you to this Reddit group here. I mean, Oz will probably be fine with it." I'm like, Oz? Like, okay,
like the
he's
Oz
like-
Media?
yeah, the Oz, he's like 5 times the size of mine. Okay, cool. And then I got invited. I'm like looking at the list of the members. It's like, okay, we have Illuminati, we have Oz Media, we have Damien from MK here, Salty is here, like Redditor, Fake Jake, like,
But wait a minute.
hi.
But wait a minute. Where's one topic?
Yeah, exactly. Why is not one? That was the first thing I said, obviously. Like, where's one topic?
Yeah, it's
But-
obviously why we got in touch, because I was just the missing component.
Yeah, exactly. That was the first thing I was raging about you missing from the group. What the heck?
Speaking
I remember
of
the first
Salty,
thing
I mean, as a nice gentleman, he'd probably, I think he'd be a good person to have on the podcast as well, right?
I think so too. We should invite him over in a couple episodes.
You should comment below if you think we should have Salty Reddits in on one of the podcast episodes.
Salty Walty, ooh ooh.
We read all of the comments. It's actually pretty crazy. Like we're still. I know it's not late for you, but at 3 a.m. it's very late for me when we still have our conversations and we're still going through the comments and like debating which ones to respond to. And
Yes.
yeah, we definitely read them all. And trying to balance that with reading our own comments, oof, it gets heavy.
Yeah, lots of comments. But I like that with this little podcast, because it feels like we get a portion of our core audience here, and it's much easier to interact with the comments because it's not thousands of comments, you know. And
That's true.
It's viewers that are very interactive. So it's a lot of fun to talk to people here.
Oh yeah, I guess you do get thousands of comments, don't you? I usually get a couple hundred.
It was so
That's
popular.
fine. Just keep flexing. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna flex. You know that time I got freaking 500,000 comment. No, that's never happened. But it adds up over time. It is. I think at some point I used to read all my comments on my main channel as well. I used to read all comments up until I think it was around November, somewhere around there. I was like, I can't do this anymore. There's too much. It's like every time I wake up, there are hundreds and hundreds and thousands of comments to scroll through. If I uploaded a decently popular video the day before, it's like, no. So that's a bit of a bummer, because I used to love being able to say, like, I read all comments. I can't say that anymore. I don't like it.
No, I did used to say that too. And now maybe 2/3. I'm still pushing it pretty hard at reading about 2/3 of comments, but I can't respond to everyone anymore. I used to do that. I
No.
was so happy where I'd respond to every single. I remember watching one of PewDiePie's videos where he said that he that he responded to every single comment on his videos when he first started uploading, and I thought, my goodness, that's impossible. Because I was doing that, and it was so much time, like such a time investment. But then
It is.
but then now, a year later,
No.
I can see where he's coming from. Where it's like, it is a thing I used to do. It is not a thing I can continue to do.
No, it's not realistic. I mean, I try to compensate for it. For example, reply to comments here on the podcast, talk to people when we have premieres and stuff, and then also hang out on the Discord, because that's a bit easier. It's a controlled time frame, if that makes sense. But if people are interested in talking to us to the point that they will actually go to our Discord, then it's like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to those people. I jump into the VC sometimes. I'll pop into the general chat, that kind of stuff. And that's a good way of compensating for it, at least. At least I like to think so.
Yeah. Yeah, we do try to premiere all of our episodes. It's kind of nice to be
Yes.
able to hang out and chat with everyone that shows up.
Yeah, it is fun.
We don't have a lot of traction on the podcast channel like we do on our main channels, but it doesn't mean it's like not worthwhile. And
No,
that's one of the
definitely
interesting
not.
things. It's like whatever you place value in is worthwhile, as long as you keep it in line with your goals. Like our goal is to just talk to the people that want to be here. Our channels are doing reasonably well, and if there are people that want to get to know us better personally, great place to go is the podcast. We talk a lot about ourselves, and as an example in this video, our perspective on how to say hi to people.
Yes, tips from the old wise boomers.
Ah,
Aw.
you know that's a
know.
real boomer thing to say.
Oh my god, did I get fired now for derogatory terms? Oh heck.
Is me
Oh, man.
rejecting your use of "okay boomer" a very "okay boomer" thing to do?
I think so.
we're
I can just
both
say okay
treading the
boomer.
line here.
Yeah, I think we're in a bit in the gray zone, to be honest. Anyway.
my tarantula is staring at me over in the container. I think I have to
I think
feed
it
her
wants to
today.
do it. You remember the post where it says like the spiders could eat the entire human race if they wanted to because we're so
If they all work
abundant?
together, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they could.
The plan is moving along just fine. One topic
There-
doesn't expect a thing.
Their threading is stronger than steel. If you just wrap that stuff, the spider silk,
Oh.
they could trap us all very easily.
Oh yeah, I read that somewhere. That's kind of creepy. Yeah.
The U.S.
Nice
government
note to-
back in the early 2000s was considering using spider silk as the next Kevlar because it was so strong.
Oh, that's interesting.
I haven't read up much since then as to whether or not they pursued it, but I haven't heard much about it. So I assume that
No, I
they
think it's
haven't milked
probably-
enough spiders yet.
Yeah, probably difficult to milk those kinds of volumes. I think that's.
Oh, no, hang on. I remember them genetically engineering a goat to produce spider silk. I remember
Wait,
that.
what?
Oh, great random
Perfect.
internet memories. Oh, I
That's going to be
suppressed that.
perfect for the memory for the people watching the podcast or listening to it. Yum.
Now, is this spider silk or is it
Goat spider silk.
Spider goat does whatever spider goat does.
So, I think we've been recording for quite a while. Is there
Have we?
anything else you want to? I think so. Yeah.
Like a half
definitely.
hour.
When you have fun, time passes quickly. Isn't that what you say?
I'm looking at the timer on my watch. It says 33 minutes. I think we were recording 10 minutes longer than that. So yeah, now would be a very natural ending point if you like.
Perfect.
Did we
So
talk about
is there
enough?
anything-
What did we cover today?
We covered quite a bit. We talked about the spider goats, obviously. That's an important part.
Yep.
We talked about how to reach out to people. We talked about how to approach people both when it comes to online, when it comes to business, when it comes to, well, personal business like we do, when it comes to
Yeah.
relationships, and when it comes to making friends.
Yes, talk about what you value most rather than everything on an equal playing field. People expect you to put whatever your shiniest object is up front and just meet that expectation. Don't try to be quirky and interesting by saying, sometimes I don't change my bedding for 6 months. Like, obviously, best foot forwards. There's a reason why that expression is a thing.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Always be
So-
honest, but not sharing everything at once is probably a good path. But yeah, all right. I think that's the biggest takeaway.
Indeed it is. Don't be scary on a first date.
And no 50 DMs and no calling Click when he's trying to sleep.
Yes, that is creepy. Unless you're Osmedia and Illuminati calling me when my
Oh,
channel
God,
got
the
deleted at 4
channel.
a.m.
Oh
Yes,
my
that
god.
was a
It
fun
right
phone
after
call.
my video went premiered and then I saw a
It was-
comment and I was like, wait,
it was
what?
the
And I checked
day-
your channel. I'm like, oh god, guys, where's his channel?
day before Christmas.
I didn't even know if I could ping you directly because I'm like,
Ah.
the dude's sleeping. Should we just wait until like a reasonable hour and then ping him? I don't know.
Oh.
And then we're
That
up
was
till
it.
like 4 a.m. my time hanging out with you. Oh.
Yes, they were up until the morning, like until my girlfriend came over. It was so sweet. And
Hey,
so many people
I was
supporting
also
me.
there.
It was
So
yes,
it was
you were.
me. God, it was like everyone, wasn't it? Except for maybe Flinders.
Yes, I think Flinders was asleep
Flinders
because
was
well,
asleep,
he's
yeah.
because he's also on European time. So I mean,
Yeah.
he was.
Like an hour.
But
difference
everyone
from me.
else were with me and were with me until late at night for you guys. Until
Dude,
like,
everyone was on board. Wonder,
Yeah.
Salty, Illuminati, Oz. God,
Yeah, it
such,
was
we
like
got
the
such a nice
entire-
little crew. You know?
we have. It was like the entire
Yeah.
milk crew. It's so good. Man, I like that. Yeah, and I'm gonna be one of the people in the chat. If it, God's forbid, happened to someone else at some point, I'm gonna be one of the people in that chat next time. Hopefully, there won't be a next time, but if. Oh man, and that was an ordeal. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of this podcast. And remember to subscribe to the Ship Podcast and also check out our main channels. I think you already have if you're here, but feel free to do so anyway. I hope you all have a wonderful day, night time, or whatever times you live, and we will see you in the next podcast. Mwah.